Okay, good evening, members. May I just ask first if we have any apologies from absent members?
Thank you, Chair. I've received apologies from Councillor Cassidy, Legion, Little and Lineage.
Thank you. Are there any more? Yeah. Do we have any declarations of interest from members this evening? Councillor Young.
Do we need to declare an interest? Do I need to declare an interest in item 8A? Without declaring.
Okay, we have no business required by statute. So, moving on to the minutes of the last meeting of Council held on the 1st of February. Can we approve those minutes as correct?
Yes.
And then to answer any questions from members of the Council on the minutes of the last meeting. Councillor Ashton.
Thanks, Chair. There were just two questions surrounding the WASPI motion. One was, are we absolutely sure that the WASPI flag is going to be flying on the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day? And the second was, has there been any response to the letter that was sent on the 9th of February? Thank you.
Do you want to respond to that?
So the flag is ordered and we're hopeful it will be here in time.
And can I just, which letter
The
specifically?
letter that went as part of the motion.
For the WASPI one?
Yes.
No, I haven't received any letter back from any of the parties except. Just actually, just while we're on that, if you wouldn't mind, as part of the action tracker that's in there, and the other motion that passed on that day, the current tracker for 12, supporting our shop work, it says on the action tracker that it's currently being drafted. I can confirm that that was sent yesterday. Councillor Brash.
Thank you, Chair. Under minute 97 of the minutes from the previous meeting, I understand that a complaint was lodged following that meeting with respect to my statement that Councillor Harrison has never taken a penny for the position she holds in the debate about the SRA. I'm pleased to say that our legal department, an independent person, has said that there's no further investigation required. But I'm very happy to offer the clarity that I offered them. It is the case that in 23-24 and 22-23, that SRA was never paid. In 21-22, the SRA was donated on behalf of Councillor Harrison, which was facilitated by the Council, so it never even entered her bank account. And so on that basis, I stand by the statement, she has never received a penny for the position she holds, and I hope that clarifies things for members.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on the minutes? Councillor Creedy? You didn't have your hand up an accident.
Well, I did, but you did down. Can we just ask for a copy of the letter to be circulated around the room?
Yeah, I've got a copy of it, so I'll send it to
Thank you.
Right, so I've checked with members from both sides, and at a request from Chief Financial Officer, we're going to move the agenda items around slightly. So we're going to take item 9A first, the Treasury Management Strategy, and then we will take 11A 1 and 2 as well. So, Councillor Brash, are you agreeing?
Thank you, Chair. This is the Treasury Management Strategy that went to Audit Governance Committee and is now before members tonight. The Council is required to have regard to the Prudential Code and set prudential indicators for the next 3 years to ensure the authority's capital investment plans are affordable, prudent and sustainable. It is, Chair, I think fair to say that what we require from our officers is to secure the best deal for the local authority, borrow low, invest high, and this requires them to take the right decisions and, more importantly, at the right time. This is clearly a challenging thing to do in the current climate. Section 4 of the report, the OBR figures are already out of date. As we are aware that we entered recession at the end of last year, interest rates, inflation are all important indicators for making decisions, so it's an extremely challenging role. I can confirm that the A&G committee continues to take a very active overview of the decisions that officers make, and I would simply ask Council to agree the recommendations as set in the report.
Thank you, Councillor Brash. Are there any questions on this report? No? So the recommendations are there within the papers. I ask now, are there any dissent from the recommendations? No? Okay, thank you very much. And we move then to agenda item 11A1. Councillor Young.
So this is to do with the capital programme 24-25, which was broadly accepted, I think, in finance and policy. Included Annex 1, which highlights the produce an annual capital strategy to ensure compliance with the Prudential Code of Capital Finance in local government. The objective of this document is attached there. It set out how councils manage the capital plans and ensure how they integrate into the corporate plan. Council has previously approved the plan to invest over 160 million in the town's assets. Much of this investment reflects our success in bidding for external funds, and this ensures we minimise the cost of the council as far as possible. The report includes a full, previously agreed capital programme for members, as well as new starts for approval. The new starts are predominantly in regard to specific grant funding schemes. Recommendations are in section 4.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Are there any questions on the report? No? Okay, we move to the recommendation then. Are there any, is there any dissent from the recommendation? No? Brilliant, thank you very much. And 11A2, Councillor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is about the statutory budget and calculations. This is about whether Chambers' calculations are working properly or not. This is a statutory report that requires council to approve the overall council tax level, reflecting the council's own council tax, the independent decision made by the Police and Crime Commissioner, Clean Fire Authority and Parish Precincts. Approval of these statutory calculations enables the council to commence the annual building exercise and formally meet the statutory deadline for budget setting. The report also provides an update on the final local government settlement for 24-25, which was announced on the 5th of February, in addition to the additional social care grant, which is part of the budget. Proposal discussed in the previous council meeting showed that the council received an additional £18,000 following finalisation of the services grant. Recommendations are in section 6.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Are there any questions on this report? No? Please. Okay, if there are no questions then, I'll ask again. Okay, we'll go to a recorded vote.
Okay. This is to agree the recommendations. Councillor Allen.
Abstain.
Councillor Ashton. Councillor Bobby.
Abstain.
Councillor Brash.
Abstain.
Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Gilligan.
For.
Councillor Claydon.
Abstain.
Councillor Cowie. Sorry? Councillor Cowie.
For.
Councillor Cranny.
For.
Councillor Creevy. Abstain. Councillor Darby.
For.
Councillor Dodds.
Abstain.
Councillor Dunbar.
Abstain.
Councillor Feeney.
Abstain.
Councillor Groves. Councillor Hall.
Abstain.
Councillor Hargreaves. Abstain. Councillor Harrison. Abstain. Councillor Holbrook.
Abstain.
Councillor Harrison. Abstain. Councillor Martin Wells. Councillor Moore.
For.
Councillor Morley. Abstain. Councillor David Nicholson.
For.
Councillor Veronica Nicholson. For. Councillor Oliver. Abstain. Councillor Reid.
For.
Councillor Shaw.
Abstain.
Councillor Smith. For. Councillor Thompson. Abstain. Councillor Wallace. Councillor Young.
For.
Thank you.
17 abstentions.
Okay, members, we move back to the agenda as it's set out in your papers. So we'll move to 6A, the report on the independent remuneration panel.
As members are aware, it's a statutory requirement for councils to have in place an independent remuneration panel to recommend the level of basic and special responsibility allowances payable to its members. Hartlepool's panel met on the 13th of February and discussed in detail various options for the level of both allowances. In considering the level of basic allowance, the panel explored whether to freeze, reduce or increase the allowance. The panel's recommendation is outlined in section 14.1 of the report. In that, the recommendation is that the basic allowance be frozen for 1 year with effect from the 1st of April 24, and for the following 3 years the allowance be increased by inflation on the percentage level of the local authority staff pay award, whichever is the greater. This would, however, be open to review at year 2 should members wish to do so. When considering options for the payment of special responsibility allowances to councils, the panel discussed in detail on the 1st of February full council recommendation that the allowances be removed from the scheme and other potential options for the increase or reduction. The panel raised concerns regarding the impact of removing special responsibility allowances on attracting suitable individuals to become councillors, and in relation specifically to the removal of special responsibility allowances, the potential impact on filling senior roles in committee positions. With regard to these concerns and the financial challenges facing the council, the panel's recommendation is that all special responsibility allowances be frozen for 4 years with effect from the 1st of April 24, with the potential for review at year 2 should members wish to do so. There were no other changes recommended to the scheme by the panel, and council is asked to consider the panel's recommendations. In doing so, you can either approve the recommendations, set allowances below the level recommended, but council cannot exceed the panel's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 people so far indicated. Councillor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In light of the debate that ensued last meeting, can I suggest we amend the recommendations to say that we take no rise as members in the basic allowance and that we cease to take SRAs from the 1st of April.
Do I have a second? Just making sure I've got this right. I should know by now. But we've had a proposal in a second and we need to vote on that before the rest of the debate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't need to be short. Does it need to be short? Do we need a show of hands? Or don't need to record a vote, do we? No. Okay, all those in favour of the amendment from Councillor Young? All those against? And any abstentions? Okay. Councillor, oh sorry.
I just need to record, so there was 13 in support, 17 against and 1 abstention.
Councillor Brash.
Thank you, Chair. As was mentioned in the debate last time, the Labour Group believes we can actually go further on this issue and that we can actually exceed the savings that were suggested by merely taking away the SRAs when looking at the allowances and expenses as a round. But we do agree with Councillor Young that obviously the budget was passed and the robustness advice was given by the Chief Finance Officer on the basis of SRAs not being paid from the 1st of April. That's clearly to be the case. So we would like to present an alternative, which is that we accept the one, basically in terms of the recommendations on the paper, you can jump everything after 2024 in the first line. So the basic allowance will be frozen for 1 year with effect from the 1st of April 2024. Everything after that removed.
For a bit of clarity, can I ask you to, because I was trying to check my papers as you were
Sure, no
reading
problem.
out there. So,
Yep. In terms of the recommendations that have come from the IRP, the one that we're happy to allow to stand is that the basic allowance be frozen for 1 year from the effective 1st of April 2024. We reject and remove any suggestion of basic allowance going up beyond next year.
like in 3 years in line with.
All of that gone. If we can review it next year, it's not our belief that it should go up, but we'll review it as part of the process. And that we suspend SRAs from April the 1st, in line with the decisions that were taken around the NTFS, and inform the IRP of the Labour Group's intention to review the whole process around allowances and expenses in May, as per our pledge to save more than merely removing SRAs would save. And until such time as that review is completed, SRAs will be paid.
I need a seconder. Need to go to the board. Again, we'll go with show of hands. All those in favour? All those against? And any abstentions? Okay, thank you. That's been carried. Are there any questions on? And we've gone straight to making amendments, but are there any questions or comments on the report itself? Kelly?
Just to confirm that that now becomes a substantive motion recommendation, so I'm not saying we should vote again, but just to confirm that.
Although you're not saying we should?
No, I'm not saying vote again, but you could just confirm there's no dissent.
Right, okay. As the Chief Solicitor has just said, is there any dissent on the now substantive motion? I guess since I abstain on vote, I'll still recognise, still record my abstention. Okay. To receive any announcements from the Chair or the Head of Paid Service, there is nothing from me.
I've got one check, as usual, I know, but members will be aware that we've had a long-standing twinning partnership with Bucklehoven. Did we know that this year marks our 50th anniversary? And Mayor and I have had a number of conversations around this, and we would like to mark the occasion by sending a small gift from Hartlepool to Burgermeister Bernard Jansen to Mr. Mayor of Bucklehoven, rather than have a big celebration due to financial circumstances. But we're also going to look to see how we can commemorate the anniversary during the remainder of the year with schools and do other cultural activities. I thought it was important we do that.
Any questions or comments to the Head of Paid Service? Okay, right, so next one, 8A, Council Referral Standards Investigation Report. Council Bradley.
Thank you, Chair. Members, I hope had an opportunity to read the report. I know that it came out relatively recently. For background, on the 16th of October 2023, there was unanimous agreement in this chamber to refer this matter for investigation On 17th of October, A&G referred it to the independent person without discussion, I have to say. The independent person, in conjunction with our legal team, agreed an investigation was required. And over the subsequent months, that investigation was conducted independently. A&G has accepted the conclusions and the findings that both Councillor Young and Councillor Cassidy have indeed broken the code of conduct under the section about not bringing their office into disrepute on the basis of making untrue statements in a leaflet, 2 statements in question, that no other political party has ever frozen council tax. Fact, the investigating officer found that to be a demonstrably false statement, and that on arriving in office in May, Councillor Young, quote, instructed officers to immediately prepare a budget that froze council tax. The independent investigating officer found that to be a false statement. Members can see the sanctions. I would highlight the fact that the sanctions handed down by the Order of Governance are time limited and will expire as your annual council in May. And there is one thing tonight to consider for council, which is whether to formally censure the 2 members involved. The Order of Governance were keen to stress that should a full formal public apology be forthcoming, we do not think that a censure is necessary or required. And at that point, I'll sit down and we'll see what happens. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a difficult few months, and I have to say that having read all of the information that's come out from the investigation, the hearing was obviously a lengthy hearing yesterday, a very detailed discussion, and I appreciate that wouldn't have been a difficult situation for you to go through. I appreciate everybody putting their effort into that situation. Having read the decision notice a number of times, I do need to apologise to this council and to the public, especially for Hart Ward, for misleading them in the leaflet. It was not my intention to do that. I think members in here know me well enough to understand that that would not have been my actual intention. But after seeing all of the information that's come out, I have struggled with some of the bits, but you know, people do. I'm a human being, and there are levels of discomfort sometimes in those situations. But I'm here now, and I'm apologising for that mistake, and I hope that members here and the public will accept that apology.
Councillor Young. Denise.
I've also received a written statement from Councillor Tom Cassidy, and he has to work and he has proved evidence that he's actually working. So this is, dear Mr Mayor, in accordance with the recommendations of yesterday's Audit and Governance Committee, please accept this as my formal apology and acceptance of the report, despite personally disagreeing with the outcome. Regards, Councillor Tom Cassidy.
Are there any questions? Councillor House.
Thanks, Chair. Can I just say that as a complainant, or standing on behalf of the complainants, I would accept the apology given by Councillor Young and Councillor Cassidy in his absence. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Councillor Johnson.
I thank Councillor Young for their apology, which I'm very grateful for. Unfortunately, I don't think the apology from Tom Cassidy quite does it. Yes, I apologise, but actually it's not anyway, so it is what I said.
Can I ask a really boring question just on the report and just to make sure it's right? I think it's referenced 3 or 4 times, so within so the council referral paper, page 4, 3.10c, talks about council being removed from outside bodies, etc. And then it's nominated by the authority, and in square by the parish council. I'm assuming, and I appreciate these units have been done in haste, but that's been copied and pasted, and that's referenced a couple of times in there, and it should be taken out. Sorry, really boring detail. Councillor Brash?
Chair, on the basis of what we've heard tonight, it would be my recommendation that council do not censure the two members in question.
Okay. So, given that, if there's no, is there anybody else want to speak? No. So the recommendation then is that we note the report from the Governance Committee, and given that the apology seems to have been accepted, that no censure is required. Okay. Is there any dissent on that? No? Thank you very much. We have no motions today. Managing Director's report.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, been a long day, actually, sorry. Can't find my papers. Okay, so there's two business reports in front of members this evening. Sorry, So one is covers 3 points, starting with the pay policy for 24-25, which full council has to approve as under the localism act, and it's attached to appendix A. Are there any questions on the pay policy? Oh. Attached to the report is a copy of a letter from Simon Hall MP, who's also the Minister for Local Government, with a recommendation following an independent review undertaken by Simon Bailey of the Disclosure Environment Scheme concerning the eligibility of councillors for criminal record checks. And this is purely an independent review, but we are being asked as a local authority to consider whether to implement the recommendation and carry out criminal record checks on councillors sitting on both children's and adult and community-based services committees that seek the views of council check.
Councillor Brash?
Chair, it's the view of the Labour Group that in actuality, irrespective of which committee you sit on, all elected members will, through being a councillor, likely to come in contact with children or vulnerable adults. I sit on neither of those committees, and I can certainly say that I have in the last year as part of my role. We therefore think that actually this should be extended to all elected members. We're aware, of course, that there is a cost to the public purse, and my colleagues have advised that they're prepared to bear the cost of that as part of this process to ensure the highest levels of safety for all children and vulnerable adults in Harlow.
May I suggest that probably a procedural then, is that something that the Constitution Committee would enact, or can full council?
No, I think full council could just enact that.
Councillor Hardy?
It's just a practical point in relation to CRB checks, that once you have a CRB check, you as an individual can register to have an annual, for it to be done annually for a cost, I think, of £13, I think it is. So that basically means that all the time that you may be serving, your CRB, your DBS check will be current. And I think at a cost of £13, then that's probably something that we as members could do ourselves. I mean, you have to sign up for it as an individual anyway, so the DBS check is done, and then you as an individual sign up for that annual, it's like an annual renewal. And at £13, I think we could save the authority that individually. That would be my suggestion.
Is there any dissension from that? No? Councillor Nicholas, do you want to? No, I'm sorry, I was not really. Anybody else?
So we'll take that from effect from the next municipal year. Okay, there have been no special urgency decisions undertaken during November 23 and January 24, that should say in the report. And I will now refer members to the second business report, which came out today regarding referring to polling stations for the May local elections, the combined authority election and the police and crime commissioner elections. Members will see that we've had to make a number of changes due to previous locations not being available. I'm happy to take any questions on these, Chair. But what we've tried to do is accommodate an alternative location within close walking distance so that our residents are not impeded too much by this. Some of it is outside of our control.
Any questions on that one? Councillor Sharp?
Thanks, Chair. Just to see if there would be signage in the previous polling stations, just to advise.
Those buildings that are still standing, Councillor. Yes, we are.
Yeah. Anything else? Thank you. Very good.
No.
So we do have a public question this evening from Mr Lloyd to the Chair of the Neighbourhood Services Committee. Unfortunately, the Chair of the Neighbourhood Services isn't here. So I asked Mr Lloyd if you would like to read the question out since you're here, or whether you would like the Managing Director to.
No, I'm quite happy to do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, just for the sake of it, to make life easier, if you'd just like to use the microphone there where Councillor Creevy is, so that everyone can hear.
Thanks very much. I'm very used to the air.
Sorry, Mr. Lloyd.
And,
Mr Lloyd,
sorry?
yeah, if you just take it, you need to be kind of sat down to
Oh,
like
right,
pick it up
okay.
properly.
I can shout louder, you know. So it's simple. There's three parts to it, if you like. Could you somebody explain in detail the council's recycling strategy, particularly how the current arrangements at Burn Valley tip, having to ring to make an appointment, feed into that strategy? And can you also advise on the current star rating or ranking in terms of recycling for Hartlepool Borough Council, because I'm a bit concerned with certain areas? That's effectively the question.
Thank you, Mr Lloyd. Because the Chair isn't here, the Vice Chair of Neighbourhood Services will answer your question this evening.
Thank you.
Our approach focuses on the joint Tees Valley waste management strategy, which has a target of an overall recycling rate of 45% to 50% by 2027. The total amount of waste recycled in Hartlepool is 30.1%, while the average figure across the Tees Valley Local Authority is currently 30.58%. The total amount of waste recycling, as part of our strategy, we continue to promote the Council's recycling services via our Heartbeat magazine, the Council's own website and social media, encouraging as many residents to recycle more of their waste with messages focused on what can and cannot be recycled. The Household Waste Recycling Centre, referred to locally as the TIP, allows for the disposal of waste materials, many of which are recycled where possible. However, the Council do not operate a star rating system for recycling. The Council has a planned campaign for 2024-25 to increase recycling and reduce the cost of waste disposal, not only financially, but also environmentally. The amount of landfill waste increased remarkably last year due to the closure of the waste incinerator for maintenance, which meant more waste than taken to landfill as we had no alternative site to dispose of the waste. The booking system that we have in place at the Household Waste Recycling Centre allows us to control what waste is deposited at the site, where it comes from, and ensures only Hartlepool residents dispose of waste at this site. After discussions with DEFRA, it is expected that Hartlepool Borough Council will need to collect food waste by the 1st of April 2026, although it is possible that trials of such collections will need to commence as early as spring 2025. There are major financial pressures which local authorities will need to deal with over the coming years, along with the expected increase of gate fees arising from the new waste disposal contract from the 1st of April 2026. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Lloyd.
Mr. Lloyd, you have the opportunity to ask up to 2 questions for clarification. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, well, the first one, because I've moved to the area with various detritus and have to keep ringing, making appointments, is why are you keeping the COVID arrangements of making phone appointments where, for example, in Lancashire, we're back to how it was pre-COVID, where, and the site that I've visited on Burn Valley works very well, but by making appointments, you actually put people off from using the facility.
Okay.
That's the only
Well,
question.
I guess the point, there was no question there. Really.
The question is why are you sticking to COVID rules
Well, I mean,
for the arrangement? That's the question.
I don't know if either the Vice Chair can answer or Denise, you want to answer that follow-up question. Denise?
So the appointment system wasn't introduced as part of COVID. It was actually introduced and agreed the previous year to COVID as part of the saving strategy. Actually, what we're seeing is a huge reduction in our waste disposal costs, and recycling hasn't gone down. So, and we actually receive an awful lot of praise for that. Each time a member of the public books an appointment, they ask to rate our services, and out of 5, and the average rating that we get received is 4.5.
Does that answer that question for you, sir?
No, it's not a question. Why are you out of step with the rest of the country in terms of your waste disposal arrangements? That's the basic question.
I'm not sure we are, sir, and being the waste manager for this authority since 1996, I can tell you that a lot of authorities in the North East of England do an appointment system.
Yeah, but not in the northwest, so why is the difference?
With respect, sir, we're not in the north.
I gathered.
The question is, the next one then is, I appreciate you might not like the answer, but has that answered your question?
It's answering the question in terms of why I see so much white at the end of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's not on this end of my part, it's on the managing director.
Okay.
I just want to be clear on something, because my understanding of the change that happened at the tip, there were 2 things that happened. One was to reduce the number of days it was open, and it's not open on Monday and Tuesday, and I can absolutely see how that saves money, how that would be part of a saving strategy. I'm completely unclear as how having an appointment system saves money. Now, my memory of the event was that you absolutely did agree, and I wasn't councillor at the time, you absolutely did agree a saving strategy to reduce the number of days, and that would save money, you completely understand. But that the appointments system came in as a result of COVID, because I remember going to the old Havelock Centre where you had to get briefed on the appointment, etc. I remember doing that in COVID because I had said I was getting rid of. So my memory of it has always been that it's 2 separate things. And although I don't think anyone's proposing to go back to 7 days for the cost, I can confirm that other parties propose to scrap the appointment system.
So, the saving was to be introduced in the 1st of April 2020, and the pandemic hit us March 20. So the timing was the issue. In addition, we were served health and safety notice because residents were just walking across the site ad hoc, not following health and safety arrangements. That was also why the appointment system was introduced as well. You're absolutely right to comment on that.
Any complaints from the police?
Oh yes, and the traffic on the road that was backing down past Tesco, police were complaining.
So just for absolute clarity,
I just need to point out that this isn't debate.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm getting clarity from the managing director. So just for absolute clarity, there were no savings made by introducing the appointment system. The savings were made by reducing the opening hours. Is that correct?
It was for safety purposes.
But I will double check from some
Thank you very much.
give me the chance to go back and check out the papers. I can't remember everything.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you very much.
Can I just remind members it isn't debate, so unless there's actually a point of order.
Point of clarification.
Is it, or is it going to be a statement? I do need to well, that's why I'm asking, because I know once, you see. Councillor Body, would you like to ask what stick to clarification? I didn't see it, sorry.
Well, I'll allow the chair to decide whether this is a point of clarification or not. Always assuming he hasn't already made his mind, of course. Clarification. Is it correct that there are 531 appointment slots per week at the tip? And is it correct that over 100 of those on a weekly basis go untaken? Because that's what I was told by a senior officer of the council. And if that is clarification,
this is a point of clarification from what was asked by a member of the public or from the answer from the managing director. I appreciate what you're trying to say and what you're doing, but that isn't clarifying something that the member of the public asked nor the managing director answered. We're just trying to follow the rules that this council set.
Second point of clarification. Does the percentage of waste recycled include or exclude the waste that goes to the energy to waste site at Stockton?
I would have to go back and ask for that information, Councillor Body, because I haven't got it here in front of me.
Councillor Young, did you have a point to clarify? Checking. I've got nothing under 14. Questions from the chairs about recent decisions. Question to the chairs about recent decisions to council committees under procedural rule 10.1. Do we have any? No. Questions on notice. We have none. And none on the fire authority. No for the minutes of Cleveland. Oh, sorry. Can we accept the minutes of police? Oh, there isn't any. I'm just getting ahead of myself. And that's it then, isn't it? Though, before I do, Councillor Young.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, it's the last full council of the municipal year, as far as tonight goes. I just want to thank everybody for their support this year as leader of the council. We're about to go into the election, so I wish everybody well as we go into the election. And for those that are standing down and not really standing in that sense, thank you for your service to this council and to the people of Hartlepool.
Thank you, Councillor Young. I was going to say something very similar, so I'll just, I'm aware that some people may be retiring at this set of elections. If there is anybody, and I don't know if it's public yet, but thank you very much for your service, and if there's anybody who would like to speak, they can do so. Councillor Harris.
Thanks, Chair. So, I don't know whether it is public, but it will be. Yes. Councillor Helen Hampson is standing down. So, she's going to make a big difference to us. Try not to do so little. So, Helen has been an outstanding councillor, and anyone who's had anything to do with her over the time that she's been here will know that. She has a way with her that doesn't say, this is what I'm doing, but she just gets on and does it. She's done a great job in the Victoria Ward, helping all the different kinds of communities that are there, and making inroads for communities that perhaps needed that extra support. And she's just gone over and above. but nobody would know about it because she doesn't ever tell you what's gone on. And she's an extremely modest person. So I'm going to tell you, she's a very clever woman. And she is actually someone who I have the greatest respect for and the greatest love for. She's a good friend. Here I go again. A good friend. Yes, she will remain that. She's made friends within the group, which she will never, that will never go, and she'll still be very much part of us. But I think the council and the residents of the Victoria Ward particularly will miss her. She's a great person, and I obviously will miss her a lot, as will the rest of the group.
Thank you, sir. I just want to say I'm a bit shocked that you're leaving, so this is obviously news to me. The one thing that I've appreciated from Councillor Howson is directness. So every meeting that we've had, they can be very short meetings because Helen gets right to the point really quickly, and yeah, you have on my toes quite a lot of times. But we've always maintained, I think, a very professional and good relationship. Absolutely wish you well in the work that you're doing now. I've received several emails in your professional capacity from your team, and they've been well received as well, and it shows some of the professional and talent that you have in terms of helping people and looking after those many social issues that this town has. So thank you very much for your service to the town.
Yeah, just to thank everybody I've worked with. It's always been a privilege, perhaps not always a pleasure. There's lots of things. I've enjoyed working with everybody. It has been a real privilege. And thank you, Brenda. I find it very flattering. It's a bit embarrassing, but thank you very much. Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say a few words. I became a councillor actually because of meeting Helen after me throwing open air and brought Councillor Howson to my house, and during COVID actually we all sat out in the garden on a very chilly evening, and she's been amazing, and she's offered guidance, understanding to new councillors, and just generally has a fantastic moral compass, which will hugely be missed. No doubt we're all going to be in Helen's bad books after this meeting for standing up and saying all these wonderful things, but she really will be a miss to this council and the Labour Party. And I just want to say she is an incredible, intelligent woman doing some great work in the charity sector. And I thank you, Helen, if you'll look at me now, from the bottom of my heart for being not just a friend but a colleague, and just carry on being you, serving the public and the community. Thank you.
I'm glad you clarified that with you met in the garden, because I thought you were going to throw her under the bus right now.
And it was crazy, wasn't it?
Okay, is that everyone? Okay, thank you all very much. This is the last formal council meeting of the year, unless somebody decides to call an extraordinary one, because you love to be here. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your week. Please stand.